Hello guys, welcome to Redditor's Revenge. Here we post amazing revenge stories daily. And if you want more content like this, please subscribe to the channel and stay tuned with us. Moving on to today's first story. Bit of background, I'm 36M as of now. The characters have been a bit altered by their names. Rebecca, my ex-wife, James, my college buddy and the guy Rebecca cheated on me with, Saladin, my other guy friend, Lisa, Saladin's cousin. So Rebecca and I were what you call college sweethearts. We survived college and the hardships of life. Got married in our early 20s. Ever since we got married, things were rocky. Not from the start but situation-wise. I was in medical while she was an accounting major. There were things that were okay with me, but were not with her. Despite being married, she acted like she was a free bird. She was. It's a good thing, but there was marital neglect from her side. 2016, she joins James' company as an accountant because it pays well. I was happy because hey, he's a buddy of mine. Slowly she started to complain about things that were in place. She didn't like where we lived, had problems with everything I did, she did not like the food she used to. I'm a great cook and she loved my food. Our fights intensified by a margin where she would call me names. I'm good for nothing, she earned more than me. Drastic turn was here that Rebecca and James were hanging out with our set of mutual friends. I got word of it and it seemed off. I confronted both of them, to which they both said it was a sudden plan and I was out in the field. Coincidentally, it happened on the same day I was out of the city. They might have planned it, which I'm not sure of. 2017 was the year my marriage blew up, so I was sure there was something because my bedroom became a ducking dead one. I was increasingly paranoid and whenever I tried to address things I was turned down. Now I'm not a saint. I constantly yelled at her to tell me what was going on, because there was just something off. Your favorite person rarely talks or does stuff with you and they claim it's nothing. Does this sound okay? It was also the year we were at our peak financially because our debts were paid off. My friends and I decided to open up a medical shop that provided medicine shop as a side venture. So one of my friends was Saladin. He proposed that we celebrate it at a pub. When we go there, I notice a girl that looks exactly like Rebecca. She was dancing with another man and it was quite dark. I get a closer look, and lo and behold, it's Rebecca and James dancing hand to hand. I wasn't much bothered about it because, hey, they're friends. I was here with my colleagues and she was there with her, but it was bothering me. I decided to send her a text asking where was she. She's usually on her way home at this time and she told me she was already at home. Now that was a red flag. I told her to stop lying because she wasn't. I could see that she was getting paranoid and told me she was on her way. She left the pub afterward. That night I asked her about James. The look she gave me was as if she saw a ghost because she was not expecting that question. That look was what told me something was up. If you ask her so about a friend, they should act normally, but the way she acted was abnormal. That night itself I snooped on her phone. Curiosity was killing me. The password was changed so I couldn't see the phone. The next day, I saw her password and snooped on it. There were hundreds of thousands of texts right there, countless pictures, calling him daddy, degrading comments. My wife and I made a vow to each other that if there was ever anything we needed to explore, we would be transparent with each other. She broke that vow too. She confided about him, how much thrill she felt that night at the pub. I went through everything. What hurt the most was she told me if one of us ever got bored of the other or needed to spice things up, we will let each other know. She destroyed everything. I couldn't look at her the way I used to anymore. I cried the night and confronted her stupidly without any evidence the next morning. She yelled at me and stormed out after telling me I was abusive and insane. She told all our friends that I was abusive. That afternoon, they created a messenger group where everyone ganged up to troll me. When she came home that night, she told me she was in love with James and wants a divorce. I told her to talk first, but it turned into her berating me. I yelled at her and she called the cops. I was asked to spend the night elsewhere. I went to my sister's and when I returned the next morning, James' car was there. He spent the night here. There was nothing that needed to explain. He was doing it on purpose. Hell, she was doing it on purpose. I went to see a lawyer. As we did not have a prenup, she already filed a complaint about me being abusive. It didn't look good for me. Not once did she try to apologize. Not once did she try to make amends, and our country's law doesn't count infidelity as a fault. So even with that, she's entitled to half of my everything, but her complaint can sue me. A few days after that, when I was still living with my sister, I tried contacting Rebecca, but she won't reply to me. Rebecca hit me up telling me we should get divorced. That's it. 12 years of relationship, 4 years of marriage, and she ends it with a text. I was ducking, convinced that James was taking my place. She handed me the divorce papers. Everyone from our friend circle was convinced that I was a ducking abuser and that James was her savior. She did the right thing to cheat on me. We were officially divorced at the start of 2018. She was already dating James open during our divorce. He was her life, and I lost my job, my house, and my reputation in her little affair. I had to change the city to move someplace else to restart again. Saladin helped me massively with that fresh start. He got me a decent paying job that was nowhere like my previous one, but it was better than the rest. We became close buddies while I was working to earn back what I had. Dating life was over for me. I just couldn't trust anyone. It was a complete NC between me and Rebecca. The last I heard was she moved in with James. They were doing great. Revenge part. End of 2020, my life was blowing up. COVID helped our cause with broken backs but filled our pockets. Our pharmacy venture turned huge, so I was able to make money. I met a friend of mine from whom I got a tip that James and Reb were done. James cheated on her and left her. But Reb had a child with James. He was absent since birth, so he did not sign the birth certificate. So Reb is raising that child as a single parent. She tried dating, but she was not over me or James. Part of me was happy with it, but gosh, I missed her. I sent her an email asking how was she doing. She wasn't expecting to hear from me. We exchanged emails and reconnected. Our first meeting was in 2021 after several years. She looked like shit. She gained weight, lost the charm, and looked utterly exhausted all the time. Frankly, just her look made my blood boil and triggered me, but I also want to take my revenge on her. Life had already done that on my part, but I'm in a hole. I wasn't done with her. She told me about James and reopened the earlier wounds. I got my closure, which made me feel a bit better, I guess. She said she was sorry. She wasn't thinking straight about what she was doing. James poisoned her mind against me. I told her I will forgive her if she comes clean to everyone and clears my name. She did that, losing a lot of friends, but she deserved that. My name was clean, and she wanted us to date again. Clear words, make me raise that a whole James child. I told her I would agree to it, but we needed to date and marry first. Only then I will legally adopt her child. That little guy is adorable, and I had taken a liking to him. Here is the truth, I was already seeing someone. Pretty safe to say I was cheating on that woman with Reb. She was a client of mine from a different country. We were in an LDR. Reb and I were living in different cities, so I never moved in with her. But I played it well by saying I need to travel for business. So I was only getting Rebecca's hopes up to crush her as she crushed me. We were getting intimate, but protection were used. Rebecca felt she found love again. I pushed her to therapy to get her to be normal again. Everyone was commenting on how she was getting happier with me. She would praise and then say sorry. Do little things for me that she used to when she was married to me. Trust me when I say I had a lot of emotions attached to this woman. I considered my revenge if it was a good thing to break her heart. She might be traumatized for a lifetime, but she did not think of my heart, and we were married. Why should I think of hers? Her birthday was coming up last year in October. The lockdown was eased up and someone was in my city. For the birthday gift, I grabbed Rebecca for ring shopping. She picked out her favorite ring that I got wrapped, and she was elated because of that. That night, she came up to me crying that she was sorry for hurting me. She looked genuinely remorseful, but I had no feelings for her except indifference. Lisa was Saladin's cousin. I already told her everything beforehand. She was against my revenge idea, but I managed to convince her somehow. She was uncomfortable with it, but understood that I needed to go through it. On Rebecca's birthday, I drove her to our favorite spot when we were married. It's a nature's place. Lisa was already waiting there. I introduced Lisa to Rebecca that Lisa's my GF. Rebecca went white and asked me, what does she mean? What is she then? I introduced her to Lisa as Rebecca, my ex-wife, and FWB. There and then, I proposed to Lisa with that ring. Rebecca went mad and started yelling, to which I replied, how the duck can she expect us to work out when she nuked us? I'm never dating a dirtbag like her again. She asked me again and again if we meant nothing. I told her nope. Sleeping with her was compensation for the pain. I got her to clear out the pain she put me through. Lisa was holding me back. She saw Rebecca was hurting. I told Rebecca that she needs to leave, but she told everyone that I cheated and I was an asshole. This time, I took it as pride. Everyone saw the dirtbag she was. She cheated on me and made me pay a high price for falsified abuse. Now she wants me to raise her kid and date her. The last we connected was in December of last year. She wrote me a letter that how much sorry she is, because she can't imagine putting me through the pain that she already put me through. She hoped I live a better life. Last I heard, she was completely uninterested in dating. Looks shit. As for me, I and Lisa stopped dating. There were differences between us. I'd like to add an edit. People who are saying I'm worse than my ex, can you please, at least for the love of God, point out how am I worse than her? She cheated. I loved her and she ducking cheated on me. She cost me my home, my job, my image, my reputation, and my friends. I was an abuser to everyone. I gave her a taste of her own medicine. Yes, by hurting someone else, now I'm worse than her. I don't want judgment. This is nuclear revenge and I'm sharing my revenge stories. I may emotionally scar her, but that's what she did to me. Now, here is the end of our first story, and I hope you guys are enjoying my content. So before moving to the next story, you guys can share your thought in the comments section. Do you think OP is much worse than Rebecca? Or he did right and gave her a taste of her own medicine? And hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay tuned with us for more satisfying revenge stories.
Now, moving on to our final story. Hi everyone, it's my first time posting here and English isn't my first language, so I apologize for any error you could find. Despite my wobbly grammar, I think my little story could entertain some of you. I'll preface this by saying all of the people involved in this, except for my shitty ex, are in much better places now and in healthy relationships. 3 years ago, I F19 at the time, accidentally developed a crush on a friend's best friend, Eric 27M at the time. I knew him from a sports club we both frequented at different ages, and through my friend Marcus 21M. At that time, Eric had just been dumped by his fiancée for good reasons, and I had just gotten rejected by the person I was interested in, so I agreed to a one-night stand with Eric after a party thrown by Marcus. We were supposed to leave it at that, but another party comes by and Eric is all sugar and honey with me, and we end up talking over the phone and my texts every day, all day, and even at night. He showers me with affection constantly, and it feels like a dream come true, and so I start falling in love with him. Looking back, it was stupid of me to fall for that, but I was in a really bad place at the time. My father was drinking and an absolute to me, and since I lived alone with him, I developed severe insomnia and anxiety. When you just can't sleep and someone is there to keep you company all the time, as Eric did with me, you come to trust them way too fast. Anyway, the honeymoon phase lasts for 2 months. Eric come to spend the weekend with me while he was on leave, and then his behavior does a complete 180 turn. He's cold, distant, harsh, and blames me for suggesting we eat in a restaurant he used to go to with his ex-fiancée, though he never told me about it before. The 2 days were awful. He even refused to drop me back home after spending the night with me, even if it was on his way to the base, and I had to walk 1 hour to get home. No public transportation on Sunday. Welcome to the country. It was sort of a wake-up call and I began to collect information about him in the sports club. Hadn't done this before as he had asked me to wait before making our relationship public, and discovered that he had the habit of cheating on his girlfriends, and that's what caused his fiancée to leave him. But as I said before, I was in a bad place, and my stupid ass thought we could work things out if we talked about his cheating habit. Maybe start an open relationship. Bold of me to assume I was the one who'd get him to change. I never managed to get Eric to admit he cheated on the previous girls, despite the whole sports club knowing and having proof. He was playing hot and cold, love bombing then ghosting me, my psychologist's words not mine. He then had the very good idea to call Marcus and have him promise he wouldn't tell me a thing, and then proceeded to explain to him he was in love with one of his subordinates and was actively pursuing her. However, Marcus GF Alice 19F, who happens to be my best friend, overheard their conversation. She urged Eric to break up with me but he didn't want to yet, and planned on waiting a few weeks for the 31st of December party, to which we were all invited to break up with me as it was more civil to do it face to face. Alice then informed me of the situation, and I pretended I knew nothing when I talked with Eric. At that point, my rose-colored glasses were shattered, and Marcus was in a pickle between me and his absolute a hole of a best friend. He had yet to lose his rose-colored glasses too, but he was siding with me so he kept his mouth shut. I came up with a plan. Since Eric was only in a relationship with me when he wanted to, I got in touch and slept with one of the guys he was in military school with. The guy hated Eric's guts and was more than happy to help me enact my little plan after being told the story. At the 31st of December party, Eric didn't break up with me as he was supposed to sleep at my house. He waited for the next morning after spending the night with me to end things. Why did I sleep with him if I knew he was such a puss? only to have him learn later through the grapevine that I had cheated on him with one of his former classmates, and without protection at that, and that I was now getting tested for STDs. It was really fun having him call me a liar and a dirty whore, but that asshole hadn't learned anything yet. Of all the asses Eric could chase after, he chose to try to put Alice in his bed after our breakup, his best friend's GF, and so Marcus cut all ties with him. But Alice, as he had insulted her when she refused to entertain him, and I weren't done with him. We spent the next weeks finding and contacting the girls he wanted to seduce, because that bastard thinks he's so irresistible that he bragged about who he's going to fuck on a Discord server where some of our friends happen to be. He got cockblocked for a good 3 months before discovering it was our fault, and went ballistic. But we didn't argue much, and Alice then posted a picture of her and me kissing to spite him with Marcus' approval, of course. After that, Eric was blocked by everybody we knew. A few months ago he tried to get in touch with one of my friends by pretending to make amends, but bitched about me again and got blocked immediately. I have great joy in knowing he despises me, and that I'm still a thorn in his side after all this time. His exes had a good laugh learning about my shenanigans, and that makes me even happier. I hope that you have a good day, and if you happen to be in a shitty relationship, I wish you good luck, and also good revenge. Now, here is the end of our today's video, and I hope you enjoyed these revenge stories. Guys, I want to hear your thought about this story in the comments section, and let me know if you were in OP's situation, what would you do? And, before you leave, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to remain updated on more fantastic stories.